Hi, my name is Lindsay Mitchell, and I will be giving a informative speech on the life and death of Dr. Martin Luther King, as well as his impact on the civil rights movement. Before I start, I would just like to apologize in advance if my voice sounds strained or too low. I am still in recovery from COVID. But Dr. Martin Luther King was born January 15th, 1929 in Georgia, Atlanta. Dr. Martin Luther King was Dr. Martin Luther King Sr. was his father, and Miss Alberta King was his father. And growing up, he would always hear the word or the preachings and teachings of Christianity from his father and his grandfather, who were both reverends at the time. So he was raised very spiritual. Um, King's first real interaction with racism and the obvious color line that was going on in the South was when he was about to enter elementary school. And he had a friend that was a white male as well that he would always play with growing up. They lived near him, right across the street. And they both entered school at the same time on the same year. However, Dr. Martin Luther King went to a all-black school, and the little boy went to a white school because at the time schools were segregated. So he, so the white boy's family told Dr. King that maybe they shouldn't be hanging out anymore because Dr. King was black and his son was white, and they didn't want to see them together. So once he told his family that, they sat him down and they talked about racism and slavery, and that was kind of his first introduction in his interest in the civil rights. When Dr. King was around 13, he got his first ever job, which kind of shows you how much of a hard worker he was. It was for, he was an assistant for the Atlanta Journal. And in high school, he was known for his public speaking and even joined the debate team and was really good at it. And he gave his first public speech during a contest in Dublin, Georgia. During the civil rights movement, Dr. King was a very big face, amongst others, but one of the most popular or memorable things about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was his "I Have a Dream" speech, which he gave on the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. to other marchers and African Americans and protesters that were around at the time. Another thing he was known for was his Montgomery to Selma march. Montgomery to Selma march, which was an astonishing 54 miles by foot. After Dr. Martin Luther King's death, well, first of all, Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated in 1986 in Memphis, Tennessee, while he was standing out on his balcony on the Lorraine Motel. I have personally gone to visit the Lorraine Motel multiple times, and there's a monument on the door of his hotel room, where you can go and see where he was shot. And he was in Memphis, Tennessee at the time to protest sanitation workers' rights, which is why you always see sanitation workers take off on his death date. And the death of Dr. Martin Luther King acted as sort of a domino effect for the rest of the civil rights movements. All of a sudden, there was protests, whether they're peaceful or not. Some were not as peaceful as others. There were marches, and in the end, we got to see a lot of Dr. Martin Luther King's dream come true, and his legacy live on in those dreams.